My husband told a story about our honeymoon in Paris. We honeymooned in Hawaii. Nathan was laughing as he described the cafe with the red awning where he'd proposed to me a second time. The one on the left bank, you remember, Elena? When the owner brought us champagne and you cried? I was holding my wine glass so tightly I thought the stem would snap. The Eiffel Tower lit up just as we kissed, and you said it was the most perfect moment of your life. My throat closed. We honeymooned in Maui. Nathan spent 3 days with food poisoning while I ate room service alone and cried on the balcony. There had been no Paris, no cafe, no second proposal under sparkling lights. Mrs. Clark touched my arm, her eyes misty. That sounds absolutely magical. You must go back for your anniversary. I smiled and nodded while my mind raced through possibilities. Memory problems, early dementia, but he was only 34. A joke that went too far. But no one was laughing, and he kept building on the story, adding details about walking along the Seine afterward, about buying me a bracelet from a street vendor, about kissing in the rain, things that sounded real and felt real except they'd never happened to us. When the Clarks finally left, I closed the front door and turned to face him. Nathan, we never went to Paris. We went to Hawaii for our honeymoon. Remember? You got sick from the fish and we barely left the hotel. He was already walking toward the kitchen, loosening his tie. What are you talking about? We absolutely went to Paris. I proposed to you again at that cafe. You were wearing that blue dress. His voice was casual, certain, like I was the confused one. I followed him, my bare feet silent on the hardwood. I pulled out my phone and opened our photo album. Look, these are from Maui. That's the resort. That's you looking miserable on day 3 when you couldn't keep anything down. He glanced at the screen for maybe 2 seconds before shaking his head. Those are from our 5th anniversary trip, Elena. Our honeymoon was Paris. I don't know why you're confused about this. I knew we'd never been to Paris together. I had receipts, booking confirmations, a folder full of documents upstairs that proved Hawaii. Why are you doing this? My voice came out strangled. Why would you lie about something like this? Nathan set his water glass down very carefully and turned to look at me with an expression I'd never seen before. Something cold and calculating that made my stomach drop. I'm not lying, Elena. You're the one who seems to be having memory problems. Maybe you should see a doctor. Your mother had that scare last year, didn't she? Early onset runs in families. He said it so calmly, weaponizing my mother's temporary medication confusion like it was nothing. I backed away from him. I went upstairs and pulled out our filing cabinet. The honeymoon folder was thick with papers. Flight confirmations to Maui, resort booking, rental car agreement. Every single document screamed Hawaii, not Paris. I photographed everything with my phone, some instinct telling me I needed to protect this evidence. Then I noticed our wedding album on the shelf and something made me open it. There were gaps. Photos were missing, carefully removed from their plastic sleeves, leaving obvious holes in our timeline. My chest went tight. When had he done this? Why? I checked the other albums from that year and found more missing photos. Not random ones, but specific images from our engagement and wedding. Someone had systematically removed pieces of our history. Nathan appeared in the doorway so suddenly I gasped. What are you doing? His voice was too calm, his eyes too focused on the open filing cabinet and scattered folders, just looking at old memories. I tried to sound normal, but my voice shook. He crossed the room in 3 long steps and closed the filing cabinet with a sharp click. You need to stop obsessing over this. It's not healthy. He picked up the wedding album and flipped through it quickly, too quickly to really see anything. Everything is fine, Elena. You're creating problems where there aren't any. The dismissiveness felt rehearsed, practiced. I told him I needed to get ready for work and escape to the bathroom, locking the door behind me. I sat on the edge of the bathtub and tried to slow my breathing while my mind screamed questions I couldn't answer. At work, I couldn't focus. My business partner Simone pulled me into our back office after I'd stared at the same design mock-up for 20 minutes without seeing it. What's wrong? You look terrified. I explained everything. The Paris story, the missing photos, Nathan's absolute certainty that I was the confused one. Simone's face went from concerned to alarmed. Elena, that's not normal. That's actually really scary. Why would he remove photos? Why lie about your honeymoon? I didn't have answers, but hearing her validate that this wasn't in my head helped me breathe easier. I called the Maui resort during my lunch break, and after being transferred 3 times, reached someone in records who confirmed our stay 7 years ago. They emailed me copies of our check-in paperwork and photos from their database, showing Nathan and me at their welcome reception, dated, time-stamped, undeniable. I saved everything to a secure cloud folder Nathan didn't have access to. That instinct screaming louder now. Something was very wrong, and I needed to protect the evidence of what was real. That evening, Nathan came home with flowers. These are for you, he said, kissing my cheek like nothing had happened. I thought we could go out tomorrow night, just us, reconnect. His sudden affection felt wrong, performative. I accepted the flowers and agreed to dinner while planning my next move. Full story on my channel and linked below.